All right, let's bring in ABC News Deputy Political Director Averi Harper for more on the kickoff to the midterms. Averi, good to see you. They say it all comes down to turnout, which it usually does, and it's usually much lower in the midterms compared to presidential election years. How are Democrats and Republicans getting voters to the polls this time around, and what do you see as the key issues?
Right. I mean, voter enthusiasm during a midterm year is always going to be lower than during a presidential year. That's normal. That's a long-standing fact. I think what you see Republicans overall capitalizing on is dissatisfaction with the Biden administration. There has really been a focus on inflation, on crime, the handling of the pandemic. On the Democratic side of things, I think you're going to see a focus on what is left to accomplish while also continuing to talk about what they have accomplished. Pandemic relief, the rollout of the vaccine. We are not where we were 2 years ago, but there is still a lot left to accomplish. And so I think you're going to see Democrats continue to talk about that.
You touch on a key point that we have some statistics for. President Biden has not been able to pass key priorities like the Build Back Better plan, police reform, federal voting rights legislation, and his approval rating has fallen over his first year in office. Just 41% of Americans approve of his performance so far. How significant do you think that is for Democrats who are trying desperately to keep a slim margin of control in Congress?
Right. Look, I mean, the history is not on the president's side. We know that the president's party tends to lose seats during midterm elections, and Democrats, their margin of control in both chambers is as slim as ever. They are going to continue to argue that they need to remain in power in order to continue to push forward on their agenda. But it's going to be an uphill battle with voters arguing that point, because what incentive do voters have to continue to vote for Democrats if they had control of both the House, the Senate, and the White House and still haven't been able to make major headway on some of those priorities?
I find this interesting. In Georgia, a couple of other places where a test case for this, former President Trump has thrown his support behind several candidates for Congress, even as the investigation into the January 6th assault on the Capitol looms over him and the country. How big of a shadow does this cast on these elections, and is his endorsement positive or negative right now?
In short, Phil, it is an enormous shadow. President Trump, former President Trump, still wields enormous power in the Republican Party, and he is endorsing a number of candidates that would have power to do exactly what he wanted to do, which was overturn the election. And so we are watching those primaries in key states across the country to see how things shake out.
And just quickly, what are you watching for as voting gets underway in these first primaries?
Looking at the impact of the sweeping restrictive voting legislation in Texas as voters head to the polls there today, we know that there's going to be a lot of partisan poll watchers, and there were lots of fears about if those poll watchers could intimidate or harass folks who are heading to the polls to cast their ballots. So I'm going to be looking at that today.
All right, great. Thanks so much for taking the time, Averi Harper. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.